Hello, YouTube. Welcome to our channel. This is a channel that deals with the fat fire journey of a family. Our net worth goal is $5 million US. So we wrapped up 2021. Let's recap when we expect to retire based on past income and saving rates. So currently, we're expected to retire in 2024. And in this video, I'll dive into why this target was selected and how we track towards it and how the numbers shape up to be. So there are a variety of online calculators and stuff that deal with various retirement scenarios. We use this as the worst case scenario. This is a calculator that just looks at your net increasement of net worth and investment rate and things of that nature. It's very simplistic, but it's also the worst kind of calculator in that it assumes the worst case scenario, which is awesome for our purposes, which is exactly going to be what's the worst case we can retire if the market, for example, shoots up by 50% today. Well, obviously we can retire today. Chances of that happening are less than 1%. So we're using this as a good calculator to keep us in track. So this is how we ended 2021 with a net worth of about 2.9 million. Of course, it was higher throughout the year, but let's assume this is the day we retire is today. How will we shape up to be? So our 2021 expenses were $204,000. It was a very high. We're not using this number. It has a couple of expenses that should be spread out throughout years, like replacing a roof and things of that nature, and some COVID-related one-time expenses. This is not an indicator. We expect to be less than the 200K mark, but it's a good number to use for net worth calculations and retirement age calculations. Again, this assumes the worst case. So we saw our expenses, but it's not just about expenses, it's also how much you save. So in 2021, we saved about 150,000. This is a very round number. It's an estimate at this point until we do our taxes and get all the reports from the various investment tools we use. But it's a good indicator. We probably saved a little more than that, and we expect to save even more this coming year. But it's a good worst case indicator scenario again that is very useful for estimating your max retirement age, I should call it, not target retirement age. So 2021, we finished with zero debt, which is awesome. We expect this to continue, but it's also noteworthy to track your debt to make sure you're accounting that in retirement age calculation, because it's a big part of your expenses. For example, if you have a mortgage when you're retiring, you need to account for that in your expenses. So where we want to be when we retire, once we have $5 million US, we plan to take from that amount based on the 4% guideline, a yearly income of $200,000. That is pre-tax. Our tax calculations and approaches we will speak on in a later video. So a little bit about us. We are two working parents. Our main source of income is a W-2 salary for both me and my partner. In addition to that, we have three children, ranging in age from 4 to 8, and we live in a high cost of living area. That will explain some of our expenses in a later portion of the video. So based on those calculators and worst case assumption about saving rates and income and expenses, we are on track to retire in about 2 years for a fast fire lifestyle. This is assuming the market continues with an average rate of 10% return, which is the average for S&P and the US stock market in general throughout the last couple of years, decades, I should say. Um, but if we are headed for a downturn in the market, we are equipped for that. We still have our W-2s, but it's a good exercise to have. There are certain bucket strategies we use in order to account for like bear markets and things of that when we retire. But with everything being on par as it is today, we are well on our trajectory to retire by 2024, which is a great thing to do. And we hope to continue with this track going forward. We are making some adjustment to our investment strategy because of that. So as we near our retirement target age, right now we're invested in index fund in some specific stocks we have trust in and were granted to us based on various employment strategies. But now that we are about 2 years ahead of our retirement, we're starting to diversify our portfolio towards bonds, something that can handle some unstable financial circumstances if they arise. And it's time to diversify to that. We have currently about 10% of our portfolio in bonds with a target to reach 30% by the end of this 2 years.